Hello, my friend. Welcome to the Living in Sync podcast. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about progress and plateaus because I shared recently on my Instagram the graph of two things that I've been tracking. One where I want to see an upward trajectory and the other where I want to see a downward trajectory. And then the topic of being in a plateau is what kind of caught in the DM. So I'm going to be talking about that today. And gosh, you guys, honestly, when I drew a line in the sand in September and said, okay, I am going to start figuring this out. I'm going to see what I'm actually eating. I'm going to pay attention to how I'm actually moving my body and feeling, not just working out to check a box or working out to say that I do, but really challenging myself in a lot of different ways. I wanted to keep it such a personal experience because in the past, I don't know, handful of years, anytime I started sharing it from like, I've cracked the code, I've figured it out, this is what's working for me, I felt like I then kept taking steps back. And I heard somebody else say, you know, when you are trying to make really big, bold changes in your life, shut your mouth. That's not easy when you've got the gift of gab, when you're a podcast host. And when I just am naturally a person that likes to share certain things and being honest and transparent about what I'm doing. And yes, right now, these certain things that I'm tracking are taking up a lot of my time, energy, and mental capacity. And I think that's also why I'm seeing progress in them. And I'm seeing progress and approaching it in a way of trying to be like a scientist and figuring it out. So that is tip number one, is put a new lens on of trying things out. This is a personal science experiment. And if you start doing something and it's not working for you, try something else. But I'll caveat and say, don't try something else too quickly. You've got to give something time. And I would say 4 to 6 weeks is about that amount of time. If you're going to set a certain caloric number, you know, or macros, or go try a certain program, or, you know, start showing up on social media, 4 to 6 weeks is kind of, for me, where you can see a trend and you can gauge, is this trend going in the right direction? But do not give up too soon. I'm going to start out by saying what I said on Instagram. Remember, progress is not linear. In the two things, and you know, sometimes I do wish this podcast was visual so I could show you, but I'll be sharing them on Instagram more and more and more, so make sure you're following me there. Progress is not linear. When I show you my progress I started actually tracking in January, so from January to now, which is mid-end of April, the progress is up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down, and sometimes bigger spikes, sometimes smaller spikes, sometimes big downwards, sometimes small downwards. But when I zoom out from the day to day, I see the trend, and that's what you want to look at. You don't want to stress in life, whether that be finances and investing, or making progress on paying off your debt, or if it's weight loss, or if it's increasing your income, or increasing your step count. Like even something as small as increasing your step count. If one day, you know, it's like you go to bed and you're like, oh, dang it, I only hit 6,000 steps today. But then the next day it's like 10,000. The next is 12. The next is 11. The next is 10. The next is 9,000. It's like over time with that type of logging, you're then gonna see a zoomed out that even with the ups and downs throughout the short duration, in the long duration, you'll see a trend going down. So know that progress is not linear, and you want to be tracking things to see the trend, to see the facts, not the feelings. And that goes back to what I was going to really rant on is don't give up just because of a fleeting feeling. Don't give up, or like another one that I've heard a lot is stick to the plan, not the feeling, not your emotions, because emotions are fleeting. You can actually sit with your emotions even for 10 minutes, and in 10 minutes of time, they'll be gone. So making a decision that's going to determine a certain outcome off a fleeting feeling is not going to happen. And I just really want to encourage you to get to know what truly is like your inner guidance versus your fleeting feelings. And fleeting feelings are often the things that are wanting you to delay the small things that are going to help you get towards your goals and to the progress. And even if there is a setback, like just do not give up. That's one mantra I have been saying to myself over and over when I've seen things spike, when I've seen things go up or down in the direction that I don't want it to be going up or down in. I don't want to just make this about weight loss, but like when I've seen things start going the direction that I don't want it to go, I keep telling myself, I am just not gonna give up. I'm not going to stop. I am not going to stop. And even with running, there will be some runs where I'm like, wow, that was fast. That was amazing. That was awesome. I crushed that. And other times where I was like, I was at a slower pace. It took me a lot longer. It didn't feel as light and fun and free. And I truly just want to give you that encouragement. And now I'm going to end on talking about plateaus, because I think we as a society, since we have this expectation of like things are going to be happening now, progress is supposed to be like down. If you want to lose weight, you should set a goal to lose a pound a week. And if you don't lose a pound a week, you think that you're in a plateau or you think you're not making progress. When it comes to a plateau, and once again, I'm not just talking about weight loss. I am talking about anything that you are wanting to see progress in, that a plateau is defined by a lot of time, kind of like that 4-ish week mark once again. That's when, if you have seen no progress, if you do not see that overall trend and trajectory when you zoom out, then maybe reevaluate. Then maybe think about a different plan of action. Maybe then, because, I remember September really it being a line in the sand and being like, I am going to make changes. I'm going to do things differently. I want to see X, Y, and Z happening. I want to see this increase and that decrease. And I want to put intention and effort in this area of my life. And then I got to January, and guess what? There wasn't the trend. I wasn't really tracking, but there wasn't a trend of, not a lot has really changed from September to January. Now, I'll say September to January was a lot of self-discovery, a lot of self-honesty, but it got me to the point in January to say, like, the trend and the fluctuations are not truly headed towards the results that I'm wanting. And so if I do want to see that progress, what changes do I need to get honest about? What things do I need to start being honest to myself about? And yes, now I'll talk about weight loss. For me, it was, what am I actually eating? What am I actually eating? How much am I actually eating? I am 5'3", pretty naturally a petite person. And over time, over the course of like 4-ish years, I've seen weight gain come on. Now, this amount of weight gain, because I am small and petite, does aesthetically make my body look very different. And I know that as a petite person, I will just require less calories. Now, as somebody who has a job where I am fully sedentary, sitting at my computer, I'm trying to get up and get walks. I'm trying to log the 10,000 steps a day. I'm having to be really, really, really intentional about it. I got really honest about stress management and my coping mechanisms. I mean, I've always taken sleep seriously, but I know some of you aren't taking your sleep seriously. And I'm here to tell you, if you're not taking your sleep seriously, forget fat loss. So start taking your sleep seriously. And I just had to be really honest with myself. Had to be really honest with myself about everything. And then when I was like, okay, truly, and I've wanted to make this reel or TikTok for a while now, and I'm not creating that type of content, but if I was, I would do a TikTok to the Taylor Swift song or segment of her song, It's Me, Hi, I'm the Problem, It's Me. And the caption would say, hey guys, I finally figured out what's been causing my weight gain over time. Because truly, that was the problem for me. It may not be for you. I understand that. But also, I really think like as we are in our 30s, in our 40s, we're like, we definitely still want to maintain as much muscle mass as we can. We need to eat higher protein. But you know that old adage of like when midlife women would tell you when you were young, like, oh, I can't eat like that anymore. Guess what? We're at that phase. That's me being honest with me. And if you need that little bit of honesty, then that's it. Because I was actually baffled when I started tracking my food and being like, oh, wow, I'm eating a lot more than what my body needs. I'm eating a lot more. And a lot of things add up. And now I've just brought it back to simplicity. And that awareness has now made it so I started figuring out what foods really work well for me, what meals keep me full and fueled and satisfied that I enjoy, while also hitting in my target calories and macros. I've also learned health and fitness in a different way with running because I want to become fitter, faster, stronger and have overall longevity in my body. So I'm taking away a lot of the misinformation, fitness marketing stuff out of my brain of like, this is what you're going to do to burn fat. This is what you're going to do to look shredded. I'm totally just focusing on, and I said it, you guys, let's all say it together. Weight loss is not or workouts are not a weight loss tool. I've said that 100 million times in the last episode, that workouts are not a weight loss tool. I stopped seeing it as that and started really paying attention to how do I want to feel in my body? And if I want to feel that way in my body, what workouts do I need to be doing? And that's what that's for. If it comes to weight loss, it boils down to stress, sleep, nutrition, hydration. Obviously, like hormones and all of that stuff plays a role, but if you implement healthy habits, that benefits hormones. Like the body is an ecosystem, and when you start moving your body to feel good, fueling your body to support you, sleeping well, managing your stress, and I really hope that this little quick episode just brought you some insight about making progress. And if you think you've hit a plateau, but I really want to challenge you to know that a plateau is actually doing the tasks diligently that you have set to bring you progress, and over the course of 4 weeks, not seeing a trend of any kind. Like even with the ups and downs, you can see this overarching downward or upward trend in the trajectory of where you're wanting to see it go. If it hasn't been 4-ish weeks, then you're not in a plateau. You just need to keep going. You just have to keep testing and trialing and sometimes just sticking with something. And then that progress is not linear. Mine looks like that zigzagged line, like up and down, up and down, up and down. Sometimes a few days there's sometimes a little bit of a stay the same, and then up and down, down and up and up and down and down and up. But over time, you can see this overarching trend when you look at a scope of 6 weeks or more. It's gonna take more time. I know I even was around in the time of 21 Day Fix where it was like, lose all of your weight and achieve your body in 3 weeks. That isn't gonna happen. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take time and effort and energy, but I'm kind of in the middle of where I was compared to where my goal is. I'm right smack dab in the middle, baby. Like, I am in the middle. I have seen some progress and seen some momentum. And I can tell you, like, once you're in this middle, you're like, okay, I'm not going back. I'm not going to bring back old habits to get me back to where I was, because I took a lot of time, energy, and effort. But also, I feel like the second half is going to feel a lot easier because I've figured some things out along the way. I've paid attention to what works, and I don't let some increases over time bother me as much as they did. And no, this is not just about weight loss. This can be in essence about a lot of things, a lot of progress that you are wanting to make. So I hope this was helpful, my friend. If it was, like, can you believe how quick we chatted today? If it was helpful, please send me a DM on Instagram. Let me know your goals, what it is that you're working towards. I am here in the middle of where I want to be. Like, I said, okay, I want to achieve this. I'm at the halfway point right now. And truly, I think that this second half is going to be so much easier than the first because I've figured some things out. I've worked it out along the way, and I'm willing to keep going because even this halfway mark feels so much better than where I was before. I'll talk to you next time, my friend. Bye. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you loved what you heard or you want to share your favorite episode topics, please leave a rating and review. This helps the podcast growth and gives people an idea of what the podcast is all about. Something new and exciting that I wanted to share with you before we go is that we now have a Patreon page. This has replaced the Feminine Edge collective community in a cohesive place that is easier for me to manage and cheaper for you. If you are interested in our monthly classes, exclusive day in the life vlogs, Bible studies, community Q&A, and more, go to patreon.com/livingInSync and join for just $5 a month. Check out the show notes for any links or details of things referenced in today's episode, and I look forward to chatting with you in the next one.